Okay, so last night I saw the movie The Whale, directed by Darren Aronofsky and starring Brendan Fraser. And I'm a big fan of Aronofsky's films because he's not afraid to get dark and dirty and show you the more realistic and depressing side of humanity once you've reached your lowest points, or if you're obsessing about something, or if you have large regrets in life. He's not really afraid to show like how dark a person can get in those circumstances. And he also makes a lot of movies where he focuses on a single character. I guess maybe you can call them character study movies. I don't know what exactly qualifies as a character study movie, but that's what it feels like to me, where you focus pretty much primarily on just one character and what's going on in their lives and what's going on in their mind, and just sort of like really dive deep into what this person is all about. And you guys know me on this channel, I've talked about it before. I'm a character person. Give me kind of great characters, and I don't really care what kind of situation you put them in. I love plots, I love twists and turns, I love storytelling, but storytelling really means nothing unless you have great characters to go through it with. You know, Aronofsky's made movies like Black Swan, he's made movies like The Wrestler, and sometimes he makes movies, it's strange because he makes movies that are very grounded in reality, but at the same time, he makes movies that also have like references to spiritual things, like he also made The Fountain and things like that. So he has the sort of like two parallels of like brutal grounded realism and also this strange spiritual essence to it as well. But The Whale, I think, falls into the category of the same movies that I would say like Black Swan and The Wrestler, where it really focuses on just one guy and everything that's going on with him. And this movie is dark. This movie's dark. It's depressing. Now, it does have some kind of uplifting things within it, uplifting messages, but this is a heavy movie, man. And I know some people are saying it's a little bit heavy-handed, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I think a story like this needs to be told because every once in a while, I think we need to put the mirror up to ourselves and just show a reflection of the darker side of what happens, you know, when you have a bunch of tragedy and trauma and what you do to yourself and the consequences of that. And I really do think that this movie is largely about consequences. And, you know, essentially you have Brendan Fraser, who gives an incredible performance. If he does not win the Oscar for Best Lead Actor, I literally am going to lose all hope in humanity. He does a fantastic job in this movie. I've always been a Brendan Fraser fan, but he just knocks it out of the park with this movie to the point where he's unrecognizable. And I don't mean that just because of the prosthetics and the fat suit and everything. I mean, like, he just goes into this character. He just becomes Charlie in this movie. And also, this entire movie all takes place in one location. It all takes place in Charlie's apartment, which I think is really impressive to do. I know part of that is because it's based on a play, but you're also within the headspace of the character, and Charlie literally cannot leave his house because he is like 600 pounds. He is literally incapable of leaving. So you are trapped within this location the same way he's trapped, and everything's a mess. Everything's disgusting. You know, his entire house is falling apart. It's basically a reflection of everything that's going on internally with him, externally as well. Obviously, he can't pick up after himself. He can't even like reach down in the ground to like pick up a key. Like he can't do pretty much anything. He walks with a walker or a wheelchair. You know, he's got like hooks to like help him get into bed and everything. Like he can't pretty much do anything except sit on the couch, and you're sort of just stuck here with him. So you're like, okay, why would you make a movie about this? You know, just like 2 hours of just complete depression. Well, like I said, I think for me, and I can only speak for myself, I'm not gonna spoil the movie or anything, but I think for me, I think a lot of times films like this are needed to kind of give us a little bit of a reflection of understanding the idea of consequences, because we do only live one time in life, you know, and the decisions that we make are going to have a ripple effect that are going to affect us for our entire lives. And sometimes you make really bad, you can't go through life at all without making bad decisions. At some point in life, you're going to make a huge fuck up and it's going to destroy your life. And Charlie has made bad mistake after bad mistake after bad mistake. He's in a depression. He's eating himself to death. A lot of this movie is really hard to watch because you're literally watching this guy. You know, he orders like 2 pizzas every single night. He's got a friend that's taking care of him, but she's also like enabling him because she's bringing him like meatball subs and stuff. He's got a drawer full of like 3 Musketeers bars that he keeps snacking on. Even when he gets into bed, he's got like a diet soda next to his bed that he chugs before he goes to sleep. And you're just like, bro, just like stop. Fucking like watching this guy slowly kill himself throughout the course of the movie. But the thing is, like, he's given up on life, and that's it. And he's pretty much in, like, the last stages of his life. And I'm not going to spoil the movie or anything, but you can imagine if you're dealing with a guy in this situation, you probably past the point of no return. And Charlie realizes this. And the last thing that he wants to do before he believes that he's going to die is reconnect with his daughter, who, and we've all experienced a situation like this in our lives too, where his daughter, played by Sadie Sink, who does an amazing job. Everybody that's in this, there's only like 4 characters in this movie, but they all do an amazing job. She is a horrible person. A horrible person. He hasn't been in her life for years. He was divorced, and then I'm trying to think of how much I want to. I think all this is in the trailers, but I don't want to spoil anything. But basically, he left his wife for somebody else. That's all I'm going to say. Just for somebody else in the past, and then became estranged from his daughter, and now he wants to reconnect. So, and Charlie is he's a good dude, but he's just made so many mistakes, and he's never faced up to his consequences. Which is going to pull me back to the theme of this movie of living true to yourself and your authentic life. And let me get back to that in a second, but I'm going to go back to his daughter, who, not just because of his absence, without having a father figure in her life, obviously, and a mother, that's not really like disciplinary or anything, and she's become very chaotic. She basically has like an internet page where she just posts pictures and videos of people and, just talks shit on them and just does a bunch of horrible things. And she has like no regard for him whatsoever, because she just views him as somebody that's abandoned him. You kind of understand her, but at the same time, she goes to such extremes. Like she does so many horrible things in this movie. Like, she is a bad person. But from Charlie's perspective, he just loves her so much because she's his daughter, that he has these blinders on, that he just truly believes that there's hope for her. He truly believes that she's a good person. He truly believes that she can turn it all around, and he wants her to do better. He wants to reconnect with her. He bribes her to reconnect with her. He says that he's going to write her home, do her essays for her. Oh yeah, Charlie is basically he was like a professor. Like he's really good at analyzing stories and storytelling and reviewing essays and stuff like that. Like, he's a good writer. He likes it when people are good writers. He likes good books and novels and stuff like that. Like, he's I guess, I can relate to that. Like, I love storytelling. I see the value in storytelling. I see the value in people, telling their their ideas of what they feel about life in their writing and through their writing and stuff like that. So he's very much about that. He's trying to like do what he can from his home. He teaches a class online, but he always keeps his camera off on his laptop so nobody can see him and stuff like that. So he just truly is a fan of great, authentic, true storytelling and getting across a message. And I think that this is going to lead us back into the theme of this movie for me, that I believe is like living your true, authentic self. What do you really think? What do you really want to say? How do you want to say it? Regardless of what people think about it, and regardless of the way it comes out, if it seems rude or crass, like, what is your truth? Speak your truth. Speak what you truly think about it. Like, for him, it's like when you review a book or a poem or something like that, don't just say, this poem was written by this person in this year, and they were talking about this. No, say what you really think about it. If you think the poem sucks ass, say that you think the poem sucks ass. Like, that's sort of like his philosophy when it comes to writing, but it's not a philosophy that he took onto his own life, because he never really truly like lived his authentic self. He allowed himself to go into his darkest places, and he allowed himself to basically eat himself to death. He allowed himself to just be afraid of the world without presenting himself to the world, without being who he was, without actively being in his daughter's life, without taking initiative, without putting himself there. And you can obviously have like a lack of empathy from a distance. You can definitely have a lack of empathy to somebody that never took the initiative to try to improve their situation. And I can understand that. And I can understand that aspect of this movie if you look at this and you're just like, well, he did this to himself. But that's the thing about this movie, is that it's that acknowledgement that I did do this to myself, and that I fucked up. And it's about a guy that's accepting the consequences of not living as authentic as he could have been. But he sees this magical authenticity within his daughter, who is this horrible piece of shit person, but he's clinging on to this idea that she can be that, that she can be better. And I think that that's that's something that I feel like all parents feel. I'm not a parent or anything, but I think you can feel that, that you want your next generation to do better. But just like things have been so far estranged that he's desperately clinging on to this idea without even really knowing her, but still has that passion for her, right? Still wants that for her. And it gets rough, man. It gets rough. The last, I think, 10 minutes of this movie, I was holding back tears, man. I'm not gonna lie. It gets rough. It gets intense. There's a great plot point with something that his daughter wrote that I won't spoil, but it's really powerful. And I think at the end of the day, like at the end of this movie, I can look at this character, I can look at this person, and I can say, like, they did this to themselves. They absolutely destroyed their own lives because of bad things that have happened. And there are many, many instances where they could have taken initiative to try to do better. But I look at that not as in, like, a judgment of that character. I look at it as in, like, this is real. Like, this is what happens to people. And just like analyzing stories like Charlie does, and loves to do, I'm looking at Charlie's story, and even though I can't relate to, binge eating, I mean, we've all gotten super depressed and binge ate, here and there. Like, I've done that, but I've never allowed myself to, go to that length or whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be binge eating. It could be whatever your vice is, right? But you're looking at the final days of somebody's life and seeing the consequences. You're seeing the reality. It's just like when Aronofsky kind of made Requiem for a Dream about drugs. Like, you see what the end result is. And so I think you can use this movie, The Whale, and Charlie's story as inspiration for yourself to understand that you have to reach out to the things that are important to you, and you have to try to make yourself better, and you have to try to progress in life. And if there's somebody you love and care about and you feel that, you have to do more to be in their lives. You have to do more. You can't just expect it to be there or to all come around. Like, you have to do it. You have to make yourself do it. Yeah, it was just it's a really, really powerful movie. And look, I mean, it's like I said, like, there are some hopeful, like, there are some positive messages in the movie, but ultimately, it is going to be a very heavy movie. So just be aware of that before you go in. I don't think it's too ham-fisted. I really don't. Because I think that Brendan Fraser plays Charlie so realistic that I don't think that it's like making you look at it and be like, be depressed, be depressed, be depressed. I think that it's just saying, hey, this is what happened. This is what consequences are. And here's a guy that's just trying to do his best in that situation. He understands it. He knows his place. He knows what's happened. But at the same time, he hasn't given up hope for others, But like I said, yeah, Fraser's performance is incredible. Everybody does a great job in the movie. There's only like 4 or 5 characters, maybe. But it's a movie that I think is definitely worth watching. I would say it's definitely worth watching. If you're a Brendan Fraser fan, this is his performance. This is his best performance. And if you're just a movie fan in general, that's just you need something a little bit different than just seeing like CGI and explosions, and you want like a deep character study, well, go see The Whale, man. Anyways, guys, that will do it for this review. If you have seen the movie, let me know what you think about it down below in the comments. Also, like the video if you enjoyed it to help it in the algorithm. Other than that, guys, if you want to support the channel at a deeper level, I have a Patreon, a merch store, and channel memberships turned on down below. And other than that, hope you have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you next time.